Apologies to all the German speakers out there because I'm going to absolutely butcher this one. Zerdrescher. Is that right?
Zerdrescher, I reckon. Zerdrescher?
Vernichtungsschmerz. Vernichtungsschmerz.
Vernichtungsschmerz.
This is the third solo project from friend of the show, Mysterivm Xarxes, Homvnkvlvs. You've got Mysterivm Xarxes, Ald Daedroth, and then this is the kind of third unique solo project from him, Zerdrescher. Quick overview. This is a kind of what you'd sort of expect from him, like in terms of the raw black metal approach, but I feel like it's a lot more experimental and potentially he's probably done this project because he probably had a lot of ideas that he maybe didn't want to necessarily associate with Mysterivm or Ald Daedroth because it's less conceptual, if that makes sense. It's probably a bit more like idea based. Would you think that's a fair assumption, Mike?
Oh, you think it feels a bit more like it feels a little bit like a collection, as opposed to
I feel like
I can see what you mean.
Yeah. Maybe I feel like there's a bit more of a bit of a grindcore influence, or maybe like a noughties math influence.
Big time, man. Yeah, I mean that. The is it any? I know it's and that's another thing. Like you look at the runtime, right? 7 songs, 17 minutes. It's got that kind of punk, grindcore or sort of power violence feel, even straight away about like the song lengths and stuff.
Yeah.
It when it starts, you have this like kind of spoken word sci-fi intro, which is reminiscent of the last sort of Xarxes EP he did, because that had that sort of feel to it. Sorry, I've just turned on my Spotify.
cranking
I
ABBA.
Just started playing. Yeah, well, have you mind? It had that filter, so it sort of felt like that might have been something to do with that EP. But then when it comes into the first proper song, I was immediately getting these like grindcore, power violence vibe. It was like blackened, sort of. It was that sort of thrown through like a black metal kind of, I don't know, grinder. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It felt that. I mean, that's. I want to say the first song, but the second song, which was like the first proper song, it was quite discordant, wasn't it? It had like there was an experimentation to it that felt like there were sort of like different riff styles going on and maybe like different timings going on. It definitely did have like a grindcore, chaotic energy to it. And like you said, like
I was about to say,
like you said,
it had chaos. It was way more chaotic than his other stuff.
Yeah, less about atmosphere and like concept, but it just felt like he kind of had a kind of more succinct thing to get out with this. And like you said, like the track length, like they're quite short, aren't they? This one was like 1 minute something. Then going into track 3, Function, Obey, Consume. The drumming on this song, like I think we spoke about how good his drumming is in previous Mysterivm episodes, but like, and he does do the drums himself, like records it. But fucking man, the drums on this were exceptional.
Yeah,
really.
His drumming's so good, man. It's so fast. It's so
powerful.
It's powerful, and he's able to inject this level of chaos into it. And I think more so on this than other projects he's done. It has this feel of like it's just about to fall to bits. Like everything's just going to all just suddenly be out of time, but then just pulls in tight at the right moment to realize it's not. No, it is all just intentional, you know?
I felt that more so in track 1, to be honest, with like the kind of intro bit. But this song, he sort of reintroduced a kind of more traditional icy black metal feel, but switched up the kind of technicality towards the end, which actually reminded me of Tra a little bit. Some of the chord progressions were very like reminiscent of that, and I feel like you could. there was a bit more bass being pushed through in this track than I've normally associated with him before, which was actually pretty nice to hear. Track 4, great song title, Pseudo Spiritual Scum. Again, this had like a more traditional take on black metal. It was quite mid-tempo, it was quite icy in atmosphere, quite like bleak. And when he does this type of black metal, he does it better than a lot of other bands out there, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this one, what he does, which I really love about his writing, is he's able to blend this kind of, it's like melodic but dissonant at the same
Yeah.
time so well. And I get all these nostalgia hits from his music because it reminds me of those sort of Hydra Head, early naughty sort of bands. This song in particular, that actually did have a bit of a post metal feel to it, I thought, over the sort of opening parts of it, at least.
I didn't really get that, but hearing you say it now, I sort of understand. I kind of get that a little bit more.
Yeah,
Thinking about it, he had a really cool around 2 minutes. There was a really cool change. Sort of the drums double timed, and it was the first like injection of change from like the mid-tempo iciness of it,
yeah.
and then it was a really good transition into like the blasted section towards the end, which again, like his blasts are some of the best out there, man. They're like so powerful.
Yeah.
Cataclysmic Mental Collapse. The intro for this one really was fantastic, man. It was one of the more like darker, aggressive songs on the record, and the main riff with the blast going over it, it was like super powerful. But then the drum slowed down, but the riff stayed.
Hang on. Have you missed what? Have you missed one?
Have I? Oh, I have.
Did you?
I think I missed track 5, Euphoria That Bleeds Into the Abyss. I did this last week, Mike, didn't I? I'm just.
I know, and what's weird is this is my highlight. You did it for the song that I like the most last week, and the same this
And
week.
you know what? It's the same with me as well. This was actually one of my highlights as well.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
This I think this song's the one I want to talk about because this one felt very different and actually felt quite weird to say with this. It felt original. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hadn't really heard anything quite like this.
it was. I know what you mean, because it started with these kind of like progressive, almost like uplifting chords, didn't it?
It was like garage punk. The chords.
It was a bit, but then the kind of blast came in, and there was
Yeah.
a moment at 55 seconds. I've marked it because I live for this type of thing in black metal when there's a shriek that happens and the blasts kind of coincide when the shrieks go in. When it's a
Yeah.
big sort of change from one bit to another, like it's so good. I could just listen to sections like
It's so
that.
it's so effective, isn't it? In like getting you sort of
Yeah,
in that moment.
it really is, man. It really is. Yeah, then it goes into a kind of like punkier infused kind of black metal take. But then he reintroduces those kind of brighter chords towards the end, but with blasts over it. It was,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, it was a quite a unique kind of sounding effort.
It was, man. There was that bit, I think you just sort of touched on it, about 1 minute 20, when he just suddenly injects this like really fast, like hardcore part. And it sort of comes out of nowhere almost, and on the kind of more power chords
Yeah.
type thing. And it, you would think it might not work, but it works so well. That just sort of injection of energy.
I was actually thinking when listening to this, like this is your type of, this is kind of your type of thing, right? Because it does have that heavy, like the influences are everything that you kind of loved growing up, like kind of like noughties math with grindcore, but then like you've kind of transitioned into like the kind of black metal scene, and this kind of ties all
Yeah.
that.
He does. That's why he's one of my favorite artists doing this, because I feel like he ties in all these other sort of like styles that I grew up listening to and still listen to, but he mixes it all together. So I get all these real nostalgic hits listening to to the music he brings out. And this one in particular has a maybe more of that going on than others because of this sort of injection of like grindcore and power violence and stuff in there as well.
Yeah, really, really cool. Right, track
In a way, John, I'd like to hear more of it.
of this project.
Well, of this project, but I actually feel like this project, there's some of the songs maybe sound a bit more like his rawer black metal stuff that he does in his other projects. with maybe a more of a chaotic feel. But I really like the stuff that leans into the kind of grindcore and power violence side of it as
I see
well.
what you mean. I see what you mean. So kind of take out the I guess maybe track 4 and 5. No, track 3 and 4 were a bit more of his traditional raw black metal sensibility, and kind of inject more of the yeah. I mean, it could be interesting to hear what if he kind of does more with this, what way he will go with it. I'm assuming it will go a bit more down that route because he does have the kind of 2 other
Yeah,
projects that kind of go into that. Right. Before I got way ahead of myself, track 6, cause Cataclysmic Mental Collapse. The intro for this I thought was great. Yeah, this was like one of the darker, more aggressive songs on the record. The main riff in it was really awesome, with the blast, but then the drums slowed down. But the riff stays the same, and he manages to like get the most out of a riff while kind of shifting the drum stuff, which I love when bands do that, man, because it's,
yeah.
get more mileage out of.
Especially if it's a good riff.
Yeah,
If it's a good riff and you want to hear it, you want to hear what they can do with it. You want to kind of everything they can do with it before moving
that's
on.
it.
If it's that
Yeah,
good,
yeah, that's it. And because he's such a good drummer, like he's able to kind of bring the kind of energy for different kind of feels, like blasts or like kind of a bit
yeah.
slow, which is really cool. And then yeah, track 7 again. It wasn't a very long record, was it? Because like we've mentioned before, it was all quite short songs.
No,
But in the Dominion of the Obscured Terror, I thought this one was great as well. There was a moment in it where like the riffs, it played quite higher up the neck, but then he drops it down into a lower register, like the same riff, but drops it down and then puts in this kind of more punk hardcore kind of beat behind it, and
yeah,
just a really like powerful moment in that song. I thought that was really cool.
yeah, man. It's really good ender. Yeah, it was great. I was really, what I really admire about him is I think he knows when to put things into a different project. So when you listen to the difference between Xarxes, this and Ald Daedroth, there is a difference between them, isn't
Yeah.
there? You know, they do even, and it's clever. Like as one person who's playing in the same sort of style, but is shifting it slightly to make it different enough to sound like a different project. It's really clever writing to be able to do that.
So that's kind of what my point was at the start. Like it feels like he had all these ideas, but didn't necessarily want to put these under the kind of Xarxes or Daedroth monocle. It felt like it did
Yeah,
feel like it needed to be its own thing, right? Because I
yeah,
feel like if this was released under Xarxes, it would have been a little bit left field. I feel like this being its own thing does
yeah.
feel correct for that, and I think yeah, very very well executed. Mike, I guess I want to ask you one last question. Out of the 3, do you have a favorite kind of solo project of his?
It's probably his main one,
Xarxes.
Mysterivm Xarxes. Yeah, especially that last EP he did. Like that was that. I know it didn't make our album of the year show, but it was in my kind of list of favorite releases from last year.
Yeah, it
Um,
made like the 10 cut, didn't it? But we didn't talk about it in the top
yeah,
5. Yeah, really, really good.
but I realised I had a little listen to Ald Daedroth today because I was just trying to remind myself about that project, and it sounded great. And I really haven't given that as much time as it needs. So I want to go back to that as well. He's a big busy guy as well, isn't he? I'm sure he'll have something else coming out soon.
Yeah, there'll probably be a new Xarxes record next week.
That's the thing. Like he moves quite quick. That you're on to another project of his to like I don't necessarily need to go back because I sort of drain all the enjoyment out of each one, and then something else comes out for me to sink my eager teeth into.
Yeah, man. Listen, if you haven't checked this one out yet, do go listen to it. It's quite a unique sort of blend of different styles, but still falls into that kind of raw black metal approach. But yeah, really really cool stuff. If you did check it out, let us know what you thought of it in the comments. But yeah, I guess the New Year's resolution is don't subscribe, and we will catch you in the next one.
Stop doing
No,
that. I want.
no,
All right.
no.
All right. Fair enough.